On December 15th, 1994, in Monrovia, the capital of Liberia, a brutal militia attack claimed the lives of 48 innocent civilians, another devastating cost of Liberia's prolonged civil war. So, what led to this horrifying event? To understand what happened, we need to rewind a few years to 1989, when the Liberia Civil War first started. The conflict began when a former government official launched an uprising against the president. The country quickly descended into chaos as various factions formed, each vying for power and control. Entire communities were torn apart, and civilians bore the brunt of the violence. By 1994, Liberia was a nation in ruins, with over 200,000 lives lost and over half the population displaced. Monrovia was once full of culture and education in West Africa, but it was now at the center of this nightmare. Despite intermittent ceasefires and peace talks, violence flared up regularly, and armed militias roamed the streets, often targeting civilians to install fear and maintain control. On December 15th, a militia group stormed a neighborhood in Monrovia. The reasons behind the attack remain unknown and have never truly been understood. What is clear, however, is the sheer brutality of the attack. The militia rounded up civilians, men, women, and even children, accusing them of various random crimes. Without trial or evidence, they were executed in cold blood. Witnesses described scenes of unimaginable horror. The death toll reached 48, but the psychological pain reached far further. Survivors spoke of the fear that gripped them as they realized that not even their own homes were a safe place. This massacre was just one incident in a broader pattern of violence that characterized Liberia's civil war. By 1994, the country was facing one of the world's worst humanitarian crises. Refugee camps were overcrowded, disease outbreaks were rampant, and food shortages left many starving. International aid organizations tried to help, but the ongoing conflict limited their abilities. Peacekeeper groups were deployed, but it wasn't enough to prevent the atrocities like the one in Monrovia. Monrovia's residents lived in constant fear, not knowing when or where the next attack might come. Schools and businesses closed, and entire neighborhoods were abandoned. Communities that once coexisted peacefully became divided along ethnic and political lines, fostering resentment and mistrust that would linger long after the war ended. The victims of that day were not soldiers or politicians. They were ordinary people, caught in the crossfire of a conflict they had no part in creating. The world largely turned a blind eye to Liberia's suffering during the 1990s. Had there been more international attention and intervention, there's a chance events like this could have been prevented. Thankfully, Liberia has made significant progress since the end of its civil war in 2003. The country held democratic elections, electing Africa's first female president in 2005. Efforts have been made to rebuild infrastructure, heal divisions, and bring justice to victims of the war. Many of the survivors of the Monrovia massacre still wait for justice and recognition. Reconciliation is an ongoing process, and the scars of war are not easily erased. If you found this story compelling, leave your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the events that shaped our world 30 years ago.